Well, welcome back, you... Wait, there's actually not a common nomenclature the characters are called in this show, is there? I'll get back to you on that. But I hope you've gotten set to get decked, because we're here at Series 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexel. What the hell's a Zexel? Hell if I know. Honestly, I'm terrified to find out. But if that means we get more children's card game anime, then I'm all for it. And I mean that more than ever now, because like 5D, Zexel decides to take a drastic change from its last series. If you remember, 5Ds was a more mature take with older characters, a darker story, mature themes, motorcycles, and a lot of people died, including their ratings. Yeah, 5Ds did not do incredibly well. I mean, it was fine, but to give you an idea of the airing at the time, reruns of GX were doing better towards the end of the series. That's pretty sad. Just shows to go despite having some of the best writing, the direction definitely turned off a lot of old Yu-Gi-Oh fans. At least the cards are still selling. So for the next series, this one, they decided, well, 5Ds didn't work, so let's go the exact opposite direction. Kinda like what they did with 5Ds. Zexel does everything different. The story is a lot more lighthearted, no motorcycles, and barely any death. Lame. You can even tell by the art direction. This series' characters have a lot more round shapes to the more jagged designs of the 5Ds world, and the world itself is farther in the future, a lot more utopian than dystopian. Even the color palette is overall brighter and more saturated, making this so far the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show that has come the closest to an actual children's show. And when I was one of those, I barely watched it. Well, I was more a teenager by the time this came out, but yeah, we've actually finally reached a milestone, at least for me in this Yu-Gi-Oh! Retrospective, to a series where I actually don't know what happens partway through. Like I said, at the end of 5Ds, I was still super into the card game, so I did check this one out. I watched up until episode 26, which is about where this video is going to lead up to. I didn't stop because it was bad or anything, or I didn't like it. It was more because I had hit puberty by this point, and I wasn't into baby shows for babies. I watched more mature television programs, like Chopped. Another thing is, this means nothing to you kids these days, but the TV channel this aired on changed. As I mentioned several videos ago, 4Kids began dubbing Zexel. We'll still hear some familiar voices. But halfway through the first season of Zexel, they had this problem of going bankrupt. So it was moved to a channel called Nicktoons, which in my day was a channel cartoons went to die. And one of the problems with that channel was they barely advertised shows on it, like when new episodes came out, so you never knew. So I fell off pretty quick. And weirdly enough, I don't really hear much about this show, or Arc 5, or Reigns. Honestly, most of the complaints I hear about Yu-Gi-Oh! These days are more based on the actual card game and not so much the anime, so I have no idea if this is good or bad. So why don't we find out together? Without further ado, I hope you're ready to feel the flow, high-five the sky, other things he says, as we begin Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexel. It begins strangely in a dark, strange place, where we see a protagonist-looking boy arriving at a strange door.
Don't think so. Weird dream.
This is our main character for the day, Yuma Tsukumo, your average kid that no one understands. He lives with his sister Kari, a reporter, and grandma. And we know he's a pro-tag because he's running late for school. And while he's on his way, why not listen to the new theme song, Take a Chance? It's a grower, not a shower. Yeah, unlike the first 3 times where I was like, yeah man, instant banger, I'm putting that shit on my iPod. This one took a while to warm up to me. I think it's because, I don't know how else to describe it. It sounds so generic kids show to me. I mean, the other theme songs are like that too, but I don't know, maybe my nostalgia makes me more forgiving towards them. It's like I said before, we don't skip openings in this house, and after listening to it for a few times after a while, I was like, you know what? This thing's kind of a bop, especially once it gets to the bridge, you know, admittedly toward the end of the song, but I'm like, alright, yeah, I'm getting hyped to watch some children's card games. Honestly, I think the theme kind of sets the tone for the show. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. Back to Yuma, on his way to school, he runs into his friend, Bronk. Yes, his parents actually named him that by choice. He challenges Yuma to a race on his motorized skateboard, and Yuma accepts, obviously losing to the machines, not just the board, but the local trash bots, little robots that clean the streets, and Yuma tripping over the stairs drops his deck. And the bots think it's trashed. I mean, homie's not even running any synchro monsters in his extra deck. Later at school, Brock and some other kids keep daring Yuma to try seemingly impossible challenges during various periods. And he accepts all of them, and loses all of them, with all of his classmates laughing at him.
So, why do you do it, Yuma?
Those dares? Why not?
So later during class, his childhood friend Tori Meadows, the Taya for this series is the best way to describe her. She's better though. She asks Yuma why accept all those dumb dares knowing it's pointless. And as early as this is when I realized that I liked Yuma. As he says, to become something great, you gotta take a chance. Hey, like the song! And you don't know something's impossible unless you try, and failing only means you have more chances to grow and get better. I like that positive attitude. I instantly started liking Yuma after I heard that. Way better than that Rudy guy we had last time. Yuma gets this courage from this key-like pendant he wears around his neck that was given to him by his father, who disappeared years ago along with his mother. This and his deck are the last things he owns from them. Wow, what a sad story. Who cares about that, because it's everyone's favorite class period, Duel Period. Yeah, this may not be Duel Academy, but this world is still governed by cardboard. And here we see some new things, like dueling tech has advanced to become augmented reality duels. Where the last 3 series used Kybercorp hologram tech, more or less, in Zexel you equip a Duel Gazer, this DBZ scouter, and the AR technology shows the duel monsters seemingly interacting with the environment, causing destruction. Not really, it's all an illusion thanks to science. Pretty cool seeing the technology advance as the shows go on. Makes me think someone saw all those duels where the monsters were real and was like, bet I can do that. We also see the new summoning mechanic of this series, Xyz summoning. Yes, that's how you pronounce it. Which, not gonna lie, XYZ summoning is my favorite extra deck summoning mechanic. It's even simpler than Synchro. You don't need a special monster like a tuner. All you need are 2 guys at the same level, you smack them together, you get an Xyz monster. I love it. I also think the black card back looks cool. And instead of me saying why that's awesome, Yuma explains it perfectly.
The monsters you stick around as overlay units and help activate their new buddy's special powers. It's all about teamwork.
Yep, like Synchro's embodies the spirit of Yu-Gi-Oh to me. Slap 2 shit monsters together and you get a bigger one to win. Your dad's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba. Bronk. And I know everyone likes to blame the summoning mechanics for why Yu-Gi-Oh is Yu-Gi-Oh, but in my opinion, it's not the card's fault, it's Konami's. They keep making busted cards that make the summoning mechanic stupidly easy to access, and the cards that they make are so stupidly easy to use. Oh, they have the word negate on them. Like, for example, just off the top of my head, if you had an archetype that only needed 1 monster to Xyz summon, you know, completely eliminating the one limiting factor for your broken summoning mechanic, the one thing that kept it balanced. But not even they're stupid enough to do that. I mean, come on. It's Konami. They're only a company that betrayed game devs and fans for pachinko and now uses nostalgia to make everyone forget their awful decisions and that they made pendulum. Sorry, what were we talking about? Oh right, Duel Period, and Yuma's with Tori looking for someone to duel. But Yuma has a bad record, as in he's never won a duel, but that won't stop him. That's when they run into Bronk, who's dueling the local school bully, Shark. That's a nickname, his parents didn't actually name him Shark. Bronk loses not just the duel, but his deck, he wagered it, but lost to Shark's powerful Xyz monsters. Yuma tries to defend Bronk and get his deck back by challenging Shark to a duel. Bronk says that's a bad idea cause Yuma sucks, and Shark has made it to the regional Duel Monsters finals before, taking 2nd place. Shark also has no interest in Yuma, but does like his key he has, so he takes it and breaks it, just cuz. And says if he wants Bronk's deck, meet him at the end of the block on Sunday for a duel, and if Yuma loses, Shark gets his deck too. For the rest of the week, Yuma's depressed that his key is broken and might lose his deck, but is still determined to help his friend. But that friend tells Yuma, give up man, it's not worth it. But Yuma says he won't back down when a friend needs him. Bronk tosses him the other broken half of the key he went and found it on his own, showing he'll still stick by him as the day of the duel approaches. Alright, so before we get to the duel, I'm going to talk about something I've never brought up before and I didn't think I really ever would. The design of the duel discs. I wasn't going to bring them up because I don't care about them as much as, say, Digivices or Morphers and Power Rangers, you know, these reoccurring devices that span all these series. It's also because for the first 3 seasons, each duel disc kind of shared a similar design. They didn't really stray too far from what it was, you know. What the fuck is this? Why is the part where you play your cards tilted toward you? Yeah, it makes sense for you to see what you play, but that was never a problem, and the scouter shows you the field anyway. So now actually playing a card looks so awkward. Why? Who thought this was a good idea? I mean, they look cool, but when I saw that, I was like, did the person designing these duel discs actually try using one? Because that just looks like it's gonna break your wrist. So that's my duel disc review, 7 out of 10. Anyway, this duel is fine. It's a standard first episode tutorial duel where they don't use all the cards and everything, you know, it's very simple, making sure noobs like you can follow. This duel did get me to like Yuma more though, for one good reason. He sucks. He plays monsters in attack position all the time, never uses spells correctly, and announces he's setting trap cards.
If you can play trap cards, so can I. So that's what I'll do. Yuma!
You can play 2 types of face down spells and traps. Never say which it is.
This is such a breath of fresh air from the last 3 Protag Kuns being Exodia's gift to card games. Not only is it a good way to teach the viewers as Yuma learns, as we learn throughout the show, but also makes the duel seem more believable when that typical thing happens of it looks really bad for the main character as the opponent has every good card ever made. I mean, he's the main character, so obviously he's going to draw the exact card he needs at the exact right time to win, obviously. But it's not a usual combo you'd think of, considering Yuma is a more aggro player. He's about damage, not comboing off, so the solutions are more simple than you think. Too bad that doesn't work for him in this duel, because like everyone predicted, Yuma's getting trashed by Shark, especially since Yuma does not have any Xyz monsters of his own. But he refuses to give up, because he knows if he spouts catchphrases, he can win. The duel's not over till the last card is drawn.
No matter how many times I get laughed at, I'll keep trying to high-five the sky, cause when you're feeling the flow, there's no going back.
That's when the key around his neck glows and both halves of it reform automatically, and Yuma finds himself in front of that door again. But unlike last time, being scared, he charges toward it, unlocking it with his key. Then Shark starts acting different. Where before he liked messing with Yuma, he's now more aggressive, and he summons a strange Xyz monster called a number.
Now, number 17, Leviathan Dragon. Be born!
What is that?
This number is scarier than it looks because when Yuma is attacked, he actually feels pain. But when he gets up,
Rise. Huh? Who are you?
Astral.
Huh? What's an astral?
My name, if I recall.
seems no one else can see Astral. And what's more, Astral has no idea who he is or how he got here, only that he has some great purpose to fulfill. Yuma has no time for that though, because he's got a duel to win, and it seems Astral recognizes this children's card game. Yuma manages to summon a monster stronger than Shark's Leviathan Dragon, but finds out the hard way, only a number card can destroy another number card. But luckily for Yuma, Astral gets some of his memory back and seems to be a sweaty duelist himself, trying to help Yuma. But Yuma's stubborn and doesn't want any help, until things are looking pretty bad, and not just for him. But Astral tells him to summon his Xyz monster, which Yuma doesn't have. Until now, as one appears in his deck, and he summons his first Xyz monster and number.
Rise on up, number 39, Utopia!
With Astral's help, Yuma turns the tides, but Shark is still better at dueling and attacks, and instead of listening to Astral by using Utopia's last overlay unit, this time Yuma duels with his instincts and makes a move that seems dumb, but actually helps him win the duel by taking a risk, because he feels the flow, beating Shark, much to his and his friend's amazement. That's when Astral absorbs the number that possessed Shark, and realizes these numbers are a part of him. They're all pieces of his memory, and to regain it, he needs to collect all 99 number cards. With the duel over, Shark, more mellow, returns Bronk's deck and turns to leave. But Yuma, being a main character, tells him, hey, next time, let's do it for fun, as Nakama. And now it seems Yuma has a new tag-along with Astral.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, if you do as I say.
Huh? Do as you say, not a chance!
So that was the first 2 episodes of Zexel, and for an intro, I think it was great. Honestly, I think it was the best intro to a Yu-Gi-Oh series, even better than the OG. Like I said, a good pilot to me introduces the main characters, what they're about, why you should root for them, and set up the main plot for the show. It's gotta do it all. And yeah, you get it. Yuma's a stupid kid with a heart of gold, Astral's a more serious, calculated guy. They have to team up to get these numbers and get his memory back, because they might have something to do with Yuma's parents as well, since Astral came from the key his dad gave him. That's great. No further questions. I get how the show's gonna be. This to me is how you start a show, not whatever GX and 5Ds did. And yeah, you shouldn't judge a show based on the first episode or even the first few, blah blah blah. But for Zexel, I think the first 2 were awesome, and that's why I kept watching for a while when I did. Continuing that story, we see Astral is now sticking by Yuma, but neither of them know why yet, as Astral tries to figure out the strange ways of these human monkeys.
And you park your vehicles on something called a driveway. Yet you drive them on something called a parkway.
I mean, he's got a point. Yuma isn't just being bugged by Astral, but also his sister Kari, whose computer gets infected with a crash bug virus, and being a reporter makes her angry, as we see this virus is infecting the whole city. That night, Astral, still thinking about what his purpose is, touches Yuma's key and gets sucked inside, finding a strange device in it. Next day, Yuma sees that his headache known as Astral is gone, hooray! And then at school, we see in the class of Mr. K, the coolest teacher around. It is not going on because all the tech is down because of the crash bug virus. So the nerdy know-it-all class rep Caswell sees this as an opportunity to be a know-it-all. But Yuma upstages him by saying they should duel instead of have class since the tech is down. And Mr. K, being the coolest, most awesome teacher ever, allows this. So since he upstaged him, Caswell duels Yuma, and everyone watches because they all know that Yuma beat Shark and want to see how a loser like him did it. And Yuma's primed to show off his new Xyz monster, Utopia. Shit, it's gone. And Yuma gets his ass kicked, embarrassing himself. Mr. K gives a speech about being a loser is cool or something. Oh, that Mr. K. What a great teacher, and definitely not a hacker. Yuma and Tori are on their way home when Kari intercepts them, saying she's tracked the Crashbug virus source to his school's library, so they better investigate for her or else. Yeah, Kari, despite what we will see later about her, as long as it benefits her, she is willing to put Yuma in danger. She's a really great sister. And they see it's Caswell uploading the virus. It was him the whole time. Actually, he says he was framed. The program he used initiated some kind of countdown, so he uses his nerd skills to track the real source of the code. Some tower in the city. Yuma, Tori, and Caswell head there and tell Kari, who now all of a sudden cares about Yuma's safety, but she stays home trying to fight the virus in cyberspace. I believe they call it link frames. The kids make it there and see Mr. K? Nanny the fuck? I didn't see that coming at all. I mean, he was so cool. He says the virus will infect all the tech in the city or something, and he lured them here. But why do that? That's when Yuma sees the mark of a number card. And Astral finally comes out of the key and says if Yuma wants to stop this, he has to duel and win. Which is hard to do, because not only does Mr. K summon his own number...
Prepare to meet your defeat. Here comes number 34. Terror Bite!
But remember, Yuma sucks at dueling. Astral's good, but Yuma is determined to not listen to Astral. At all. In fact, he says out of spite, I guess, he will do the opposite of what Astral says. So Astral, being smart, tells Yuma terrible advice so he do the opposite, which works for a while. But Yuma catches on to this eventually and also sees Astral start disappearing when they get hit. Yeah, apparently if Yuma loses a duel, Astral dies. His life is tied to Yuma's life points. So seeing what's at stake and realizing he may need Astral's help after all, Yuma starts listening to him and manages to win the duel, freeing Mr. K from the number. But it's too late, as Kari's escapades in the Digiverse and winning the duel weren't enough as the virus goes off. But I guess since he's not corrupted anymore, it's not a virus, it's a dumb hologram for a shitty Duel Monsters card. Lame. At least when Astral absorbs number 34, he remembers his origin. He comes from somewhere called Astral World. Another day, Yuma suddenly gets pestered by some kid named Flip, who unbeknownst to him is a scammer. And he claims to be Yuma's fan and wants to give him a special Xyz monster. But Bronk and Tori drag him away, telling Yuma that Flip guy is bad news. So Flip decides to take an approach on the flip side. First he sends the card to Yuma via a fake love letter, then photoshops some pictures to make it look like he pulled a bunch of pranks, alienating him from his classmates. But Bronk and Tori don't buy Yuma would do that stuff and investigate. Now Yuma is alone, wondering why he was framed, and Flip shows up, saying he believes Yuma wants nothing more than to duel him as a friend. But even Astral thinks something's not right, and it turns out Yuma gets underwooded. It's been a while. As Flip reveals his plan to get Yuma to summon the card he gave him, Baby Taragon, so he can use a very specific trap card that allows him to summon Yuma's Utopia. Yet this was all a plan because Flip heard about Yuma beating Shark and wanted the card he used to win. By tricking Yuma with a kick me sign, don't ask, if Yuma loses, Flip gets Utopia. Seeing he's in a bad spot, Yuma actually asks for Astral's help, but because Utopia seems to be tied to Astral since Flip has it, and even manages to get Leviathan Dragon, Astral gets put in this weird digi-egg, unable to help Yuma. So he's gotta win this duel on his own, with Astral only being able to tell Yuma that Baby Taragon will help him win, whatever that means. Thankfully, Yuma gets more support when Bronk and Tori show up, saying they found the kid who helped Flip frame him, prove he wasn't the one who did those pranks. Now feeling the flow, Yuma uses Baby Taragon in combination with another weak card, Stinging Swordsman, to get rid of Flip's traps that took his numbers, saving Astral and allowing him to win the duel. That's when Yuma, being a protag, still offers to be Flip's friend after hearing his sad backstory. I'm not explaining it, this guy barely comes back. He's basically Weevil Underwood at home. The next duel is not that interesting to me. Yuma duels this Sparrow. He's this kid who has mommy issues because he is a celebrity and stuff. The only thing I'll point out is that in this duel, Yuma starts listening to Astral with no problems now. He no longer is asserting he knows what's best, he realizes Astral knows what he's doing, and he needs the help. The rest is whatever, so I'm going to talk about other stuff. This is minor, but seeing that there is a mommy in this episode, it saddens me as an anime fan and a professional gooner, the amount of women not in this show. Probably doesn't mean much to you, but I put waifus that I like on this screen, and that's kind of hard to do for me in the show that has a bunch of children in it. And yeah, you can argue some of the ages of like Akiza or whatever, but come on, look at Tori. That's a child right there. I'm not that kind of YouTuber. So I guess for now we'll have the greatest hits, I guess. I mean, there's Kari. Guess, grandma though. But one thing I do really like about the show is the pacing. It's a Monster of the Week style type of thing, with Yuma dueling someone possessed by a number, but each one is in 2 parts. where the first episode sets up the latest number, who has it, what their deal is, and why Yuma is involved. Then after 10 to 15 minutes, the duel begins, the person summons their number, which for some reason the Sparrows looks like his mom, never explained why.
Kneel before number 83, Galaxy Queen! You just summoned your mom.
Leading into a to be continued into the next episode, where they have the rest of the duel and then the resolution. And I like it even better than the one-offs in GX. It gives enough time for you to actually care about what's happening and what's going on with the person, and to have an exciting duel, which so far have been pretty good, especially since, as I mentioned, Yuma sucks, so unlike, say, Yusei, he doesn't know he's gonna win, he's gotta feel the flow or get help from Astral. And also to go along with Yuma being bad, Tori not being a duelist usually asks questions about what's happening while being a Yamcha on the sidelines. And not the only show to do this, but the show does a good job of explaining mechanics of Yu-Gi-Oh!, probably since this was made for a younger audience in mind. If you want to learn Yu-Gi-Oh!, maybe watch this instead of the original. It's quite good for a tutorial, and you get an anime too. I mean, you won't know about Link summoning, but that's fine. And like I said, so far the show's great. I'm digging it. No real complaints yet, but we know it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's gonna happen sooner if not later. And we might get a taste of that, because in the next episode, it's our first standalone episode. Sort of, because it actually introduces a reoccurring character. Lately, Tori and Bronk are thinking this Astral Yuma keeps talking about might be real, considering out of nowhere he's become such a great duelist. What's more, he's become a fashion icon, as his clothes have been swapped out every day, and he just throws on whatever he wants when he wakes up. And he's been getting very well-crafted lunches lately. Seems someone's messing with him.
For the past several nights, someone has been sneaking around in your room while you sleep.
Someone's been sneaking around in my room and you keep it all to yourself?
How was I to know that someone being in your room is an unusual occurrence?
Are you serious right now?
That's when one day he's waiting for Tori when a cat hands him one of Tori's ribbons, signaling something's happened to her. So he's taken to a cat mansion where he meets Kathy. Something tells me she's a dog person. She's done something to Tori and will reveal where she is if Yuma beats her in a duel. Astral thinks she's possessed by a number, but unbeknownst to Yuma and Astral, Kathy is just a simp. She has a crush on Yuma, and all those pranks, if you want to call them that, were her, and she's always been watching Yuma. They even go to the same school, but he doesn't remember her. And actually, kind of a cool thing, they show that she's in the background of shots from like episode 1, and if you actually go back and watch those episodes, she's there, her character model is in the background. That's a neat detail. She stepped up her game though, as she took Tori out of the picture, because she was jealous she was always spending time with her man. Kathy tries to confess to Yuma about her feelings during the duel, but Yuma, being kind of a dick, does his combos and wins. And we see Tori was fine, she was just playing with cats. Okay. Another day, Yuma on his way to school almost gets run over by Shark? Yeah, he's back and can drive a bike. I mean, he goes to Yuma's school, so he's gotta be like, what, at oldest 12, 13 or something? How can he drive a bike? I'm not even going to you answer me, like that's a weird thing. Why is this child riding a bike? He hasn't shown up at school for a while, and Yuma tries to find out why and sees Shark has fallen in with the bad crowd. He's with a pack, a local gang of duelists who go... Oh wait, hang on. No, actually, they're just a regular gang that's not associated with children's playing cards. Weird. Turns out since Shark lost to Yuma, he gave up dueling and seems to be wasting his life away now. So to help him get back on the right path, Yuma challenges Shark to a duel. And Yuma, wanting to draw out the duel and reach Shark, decides not to use any number cards. But Astral convinces him holding back is more of an insult and he should go all out to help. Shark is no slacker, he may not be dueling, but he still came up with strategies, like negating the abilities of a number so they can be destroyed by non-number cards. Wait, that's like a static ability on the card that can be negated? I thought it was just like a stupid anime bullshit power, like Egyptian magic, you know? Wow, they're way less impressive now. Shark thinks so too, as he destroys a number without one, winning the duel, and leaves. With Yuma wondering what he can do to help his friend. So he does what he does best, duel, mostly Bronk, and he keeps dueling and losing. Keeps getting up for rematches, and Bronk's had enough, and is pissed at Yuma, walking away. When Tori asks, "What's up your ass?" he says it's because Yuma said in the duel with Shark he wouldn't use a number, and then he did. Yeah, he still lost, who cares? What's up your ass? Honestly, this is just a forced conflict they're trying to make between Bronk and Yuma, who cares? More importantly, Astral realizes the duel with Shark shook Yuma too, and it seems he won't be back to normal until he's able to help Shark. Oh, also they do this thing where it's like he actually played the number because he wanted to win, is this whole thing. I don't believe it. I also think that's another weird forced conflict. So he decides to do research on Shark in the library since he doesn't know anything about him and Shark has no friends at school. So with the help of Tori, they find an article about when he made it to regionals, where they see his name is Reginald Castle.
Graced contender Reginald Castle was disqualified when... Shark's real name is Reginald?
Yeah, I'd be a bully too if I was named that. What's more, he didn't technically lose, he was disqualified for taking a look at his opponent's deck to get information. Yuma doesn't buy that Shark would do that and thinks there must be more to it. But for now, Shark is doing nothing, mostly, till he overhears the leaders of the pack, Scorch and Chills, with some jobber, planning a heist of a one-of-a-kind deck on display at a museum. Shark doesn't care at first until he sees Fire and Ice have number cards, and they find him listening in, but Shark pretends that he wants in on the heist so he can get closer to them and find out more about their numbers. And after school, that jobber runs into Yuma and Tori, and he tells them about how Shark is heisting with the leaders, and he doesn't like his new leaders' attitudes anymore. He says since they got those cards, they've been acting different, and probably plan on stealing the deck and making Shark take the fall. Astral realizes these cards must be number cards, and Yuma goes to help Shark, realizing he said originally he wanted to help him, but deep down wanted to win, so that's why he used numbers and won't go back on a friend again. That night, Scorch and Chills and Shark break into the museum where Yuma's waiting for them. Wow, why is everyone not stealing from this museum if it's that easy to get into the courtyard? He's there saying he won't let Shark go down this path and challenges all three of them to a duel. Scorch and Chills don't care about any of this, until Yuma says if they win, he'll give them his number, Utopia. Which they agree, realizing they'll be stronger with more numbers. And Shark is surprised to see Yuma do all this for him and still call him a friend. So Shark sides with Yuma, saying he knew these two were going to use him and was going to take them down anyway. So a tag duel begins. And Scorch and Chills are really good, suspiciously good, at using cards that require each other to have certain cards in their hands. And they seem to have them every time, allowing both of them to summon their numbers.
Summon number 61! I hope you fellas brought your jackets, because the weather outside's about to get nasty. IXC Summit number 19, Freezer Dawn!
Shark susses out that they cheated, rigging their awfully designed dual discs auto shufflers to stack their hands. But they say Shark is one to talk, everyone knows he cheated in the regionals. But Shark explains it was an accident, and in the waiting room his opponent dropped his deck. He just took a peek at some of his cards, and somehow the judges found out about that and disqualified him. Despite it being an accident, Shark said he was desperate as he really wanted to win for some reason. Yuma relates this to how he used numbers against him, and one friendship speech later, the two used their cards together to win the duel, rating the gangbangers of their numbers, turning them back to normal. And this time, when absorbing them, Astral sees Astral World being hit by several explosions, while the citizens scream in terror. Seems Astral World is or was in some sort of danger. Shark leaves, saying he'll see them all around at school, I guess. Oh, also, Yuma and Bronk made up, who cares? Another day, Yuma and Tori are at the mall where there's a hostage situation. Random. But Astral sees the man is possessed by a number, and then...
What's going on? Everyone's frozen. What?
So you're behind this, huh?
Such questions are irrelevant, little punk. What is relevant is what I do. And that's hunt numbers.
This mysterious number hunter beats the guy and leaves with the card, as Yuma gets arrested because he made it up there when time was frozen. And that's two protagonists so far with a criminal record. Do they get arrested in Cardfight Vanguard? I don't think so. Does that make it better or worse? That's when we see a kid in the center of a trash facility, and this kid is using some power, shooting this trash at Astral World, similar to the vision Astral saw last time. You see the hunter go to a specific area of Heartland City called Heartland, where he delivers the number to Mr. Heartland, the mayor of the city, who for some reason is collecting these numbers and annoyingly decided to name everything after himself, making it really confusing. I mean, we now know the number hunter's name is Kite, but Kite shows some hesitation as his photon hand he used also takes a person's soul, but is still determined to hunt the numbers for his own reasons. And that's when he leaves, and Heartland gets a call from Obvious Evil Man. This is Dr. Faker.
The people of Astral World try to stop me. Let them send an envoy. Oh yes, I know he's here. His visit will be short. I'll send him back to the pathetic little planet he calls home. He'll go back as a broken, beaten soul.
Can you guess who the bad guy of this series is? Then Kite goes to that kid we saw before, who we know is named Heart. He's Kite's brother, but Kite seems to be collecting numbers for Heart, as there's something wrong with him. Back at Yuma's house, Astral suggests they come up with some sort of plan for this number hunter, Since they're looking for numbers 2, they'll have to fight eventually. And Yuma agrees, but not about strategizing, but that they will duel eventually and they just have to win like you usually do, so no big whoop. The next day, on the way home from some dueling, it starts to rain, and messing around, Tori is about to get hit by a truck, but Yuma shoves her out of the way, seemingly getting hit. Like a certain time before, it seems that stopped. As yep, Kite sooner rather than later has found Yuma, and says this time thing is a field created by his robot Orbital 7, but only people with numbers can move in it. Astral, realizing Kite is very serious, tells Yuma to run, but Kite uses a dual anchor? Wait, that's just a shinier version of that shit the Enforcers used.
I am feeling the flow. Oh yeah? Well, you're about to feel the pain. Whoa, what's happening? Go! Photon transformation!
And dual Kite does, comboing off like it's going out of style. It manages to summon 2 numbers on his first turn.
Maxx C summon, number 10, Illuminite! Once again build the overlay network. Maxx C summon, number 20, Giga Brilliant!
Meanwhile, Heartland and Faker are discussing Heartland's plans to put on a duel tournament called the Duel Carnival, which should attract the other number holders, allowing Kite to take them. And then we see Faker is the one using Heart to attack Astral World and seems to really not like it. Back at the duel, it's not going well at all, because Kite manages to summon his own ace monster.
Here comes the monster more savage than a supernova! With a cataclysmic force of 10 black holes put together, a cosmic scourge that vaporizes anything in its path! Galaxy Eyes, Photon Dragon!
And of course, hunting numbers, which are Xyz monsters, Galaxy Eyes is designed to counter them, and Yuma gets his ass handed to him, but the two of them are not out of it. While they're scared of losing, they won't give up and will high-five the sky together and win this duel, summoning another number. And Kite and Orbital are surprised that Yuma has multiple numbers like them. Kite assuming he must be collecting them too for some reason, but doesn't really care, as he plans to finish this duel. And he perfectly counters Yuma's comeback strategy. He was streets ahead the whole time, and declares his final attack as Yuma and Astral realize, this is it. Astral will disappear and Yuma will lose his soul. They lost. Of course the series ain't over that soon, because Orbital gets a plot armor message, an urgent message, that Heart has collapsed from Faker pushing him too much. So instead of finishing the attack, Kite just stops the duel and leaves. Could've just finished the attack. So time goes back to being straight. As Yuma is ejected, he was not able to win when it mattered, even when he felt the flow, and Kite simply outplayed him. He was gonna die.
When the stakes are high and everything's on the line, I don't have what it takes, even when I feel the flow.
Honestly, in my opinion, one of the best intros to a rival character since Kaiba. Because spoilers, I like Kite. He's one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh characters of all time, but more on that later when we learn more about him. After getting stomped hard, Yuma and Astral are trying to think of a way to beat Kite, because they'll have to face each other again sometime.
World Duel Carnival?
Yeah, it's like a big tournament or something.
I bet Kite's gonna be there.
Worried he's not acting like himself, Grandma sends Yuma along with Tori, and Brock for some reason, to a dojo in a mountain, where he meets Master Roku, who does your typical wax on, wax off thing by having them all clean the dojo. But Yuma wanders off board of this training, and wanders into a room where he sees some familiar statues.
It's Dark Magician! And Blue Eyes White Dragon! Red Eyes! Wow, there's Neos, and oh man, it's Dark Magician Girl!
What, no Stardust Dragon? My boy Yusa gets no respect around here. Roku finds them and decides to have a duel with Yuma using these card statues, where Yuma gets creamed, probably due to his duel with Kite, knowing losing means more than just losing a duel. He's afraid. So Roku tells him some lesson about, I don't know, don't be afraid of the face downs. You can't see, be afraid of the one of. Some bullshit like that. Meaning now, Yuma is all about Roku's teachings, continuing to clean the dojo like he wanted. Until a former pupil of Roku's, Kaze, arrives, who rejects Roku's teachings, and wants to put an end to this stinking dojo. Seeing him treat Roku like this, and seeing Kaze is possessed by a number, they duel.
Maxx C summon number 12! Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja!
Kari and Grandma also show up for this, and we get a moment where Tori is more useful than most Yu-Gi-Oh girlies. As to help Yuma, she goes and cooks him some duel fuel. It's rice. Because Yuma has a thing when he's hungry, he can't think straight. And yes, they call the food he eats duel fuel, because he duels, he needs fuel for it, you know. I guess I'll mention this now since this show tries to have a lot of catchphrases. I've already mentioned the duel fuel, feel the flow, high five the sky, get set to get decked. There's quite a few. And they really wanted to put these on t-shirts because Yuma says one or more of these almost every episode. It's really annoying, because if you've seen me talk about Pokemon, you know I hate repetitive catchphrases and slogans, and it happens a lot in children's anime. Yeah, Jaden and Yusei had them, but they barely used them, not as much as other people would have you think. Yuma pretty much says this stuff all the time.
I'll keep trying to high-five the sky, feeling the flow.
Feeling the flow?
That's right, feeling the flow. It's kind of my motto. Get set to get decked. Get set to get decked. Get set to get decked. Now, I'm totally feeling the flow.
Did anyone actually repeat this stuff when they watched this? I know kids are easily influenced. As an adult and a teen when I watched this, I hated it. Anyway, Yuma beats Kaze, he comes to his senses, and for helping out, Roku gives Yuma some new cards. We don't know what specifically these cards are, since in Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters play new cards whenever they need them to, but yay, new cards. Some other day, while the number collecting is going well, Yuma's friends find news stories about people getting zombified. The common thing, they all had number cards, and they think Yuma could be next. Yuma of course knows this is Kite's doing, but tells his friends not to worry about it, as he doesn't want to get them involved. And Yuma keeps avoiding them when they ask about numbers. But Bronk and Caswell tell Tori about their plan.
The super secret number card investigation club?
That's right! Although, now that I hear you say it, I guess it is kind of a mouthful.
Well, it's not secret if you keep telling everybody about it. Also, Flip and Kathy join, because they want to help Yuma too. And Kathy, in her stalking of Yuma, did hear him talking to himself, really Astral, about the numbers and someone named Kite. They ask around with no luck. That's when Flip makes a suggestion. To go to a creepy mansion owned by Fortuno, a fortune teller, to ask him about the numbers. But he does some strange thing to Tori that gets her to talk about Yuma, and that he has numbers. And all of them get trapped in the mansion, but Kathy escapes, and runs and finds Yuma, but it's not really Kathy, because her, and I guess also Tori, technically got womaned. Technically. As Fortuno speaks through Kathy, introducing himself as Kite's servant, and that if he wants his friends back, come to him with his number. Kathy snaps out of it, and Yuma gets her to lead him to Fortuno's mansion. But Astral's not so sure. While Yuma is over his fear, he isn't. Because unlike Yuma, Astral is dueling for his survival, for a greater purpose, and he thinks it's foolish dueling someone who beat them so easily before. But Yuma's not scared and needs to save his friends, so he goes. When they arrive, they see that Kite is there, watching them from a throne like some kind of douchebag. Just Astral terrified by this douchiness. Oh, also because they might have to face him again. But Yuma is more interested in saving his friends and begins his duel with Fortuno. As we see his friends are trapped on some kind of rock on top of lava. Huh. And the duel looks bad, because not only does Fortuno have one number card, he's got two.
IXC summon number 16, Shockmaster! IXC summon number 11, Big Eye!
Things are looking bad, so bad Fortuno says if Yuma hands over his numbers, then he will spare his friends' souls. He says no, of course, but Astral sees it differently. Because of these numbers, Yuma and his friends are in danger. So if they give up the numbers, they'll be safe, despite Astral disappearing because of this. Yuma says no to that too, because he said he's here to save his friends, and Astral is his friend too, so he's not going to abandon him like that.
I said I won't abandon any of my friends, Astral, and you're my friend.
What's more, Yuma figures out the Kite watching them is a fake. This guy's just a Kite fanboy or something, he's a phony. So powered up by this friendship and not being afraid, Astral gets a boost, so much so that for a brief period the others can see him too. Not only that, this allows Yuma and Astral to summon a new monster, a Chaos number.
By combining Utopia with its overlay units, Utopia can further evolve itself. Go, Chaos Xyz Evolution! Get ready for Chaos number 39! I give you Utopia Ray!
Using this new monster, they beat Fortuno and save everyone, with none of them thinking Yuma, but Astral instead, now that they know he's real, as the gang is back together. The next episode is fine. It's Spirit Day at Yuma's school. It's basically a parents' day. If you remember, Yuma don't got none of those. We hear a little about his parents, that his dad was an adventurer with his mom, and they went missing one day. Astral thinks Yuma's dad must have known something about him since he gave Yuma the key. It's mostly speculation, though. The actual plot of the episode is Yuma not bothering his grandma and Kari with this Parents' Day business because they're busy and he doesn't want to be a burden to them. But they show up when they find out about it to show that he's not as alone as he thinks. Cute, but Kari and Grandma do not matter at all for this show. They barely do anything. In fact, all the parents we see here never come back. They are only in this episode. Maybe they make a cameo later on. We do see that Bronk has an older sister too around Kari's age. But worst of all, considering none of these characters come back, we see Tori's hot-ass mom. Damn. Makes me wish the show had more women in it besides all these kids. If your anime doesn't have a MILF in it, add 2. Otherwise, I'm not watching it. Anyway, the next episode I thought wasn't important at all until I watched the rest of the show and actually realized it's more impactful than I thought. The actual episode is fine. It strangely begins with Yuma winning a duel and getting a number, and he's feeling the flow and getting a little cocky, but Bronk doesn't like this, and they argue. Yes, another Yuma and Bronk spat. It seems like anytime Yuma just feels good about himself, Bronk doesn't like it. What a dick. This time though, Bronk accidentally knocks off Yuma's key, and then something weird happens to Astral.
It's happening.
Astral!
Number 96! It is trying to take control of me! He means that when you dropped your key, you allowed me to escape. And now that I am free, I can take control of your dear friend, Astral.
Yeah, he gets possessed by the number they took, number 96. But in the nick of time, Yuma throws his numbers to Bronk, who now has to duel this evil Astral, controlling Yuma.
A copy of myself, number 96, Dark Mist!
And using their friendship, Yuma and Bronk trick 96, allowing Bronk to use Utopia to win the duel. And they're friends again. But after recovering, Astral wonders why this number was evil and able to possess him. And that's the important part, number 96, and its ability to possess Astral. It doesn't matter now, but it will. In like 100 episodes. I'm not kidding, it matters way later. We're playing the long game here. The next one also doesn't matter that much. It's about a trash bot that likes pretty things like Tori's ribbon. I think that was their thing. Turns out it's being used for crime. Yuma duels the guy, saving the robot after forming a friendship with it, and it lives with him now. They call it Lilybot. That's all cool and fun. The only important thing is this episode introduces Dark Magician Girl at home.
I'll play my draw. Rise up, Gaga girl.
Yeah, I never mentioned it, but Yuma uses Gaga and Go monsters. Why do people think Yu-Gi-Oh cards have stupid names? Obviously this sounds better in Japanese because in English it sounds like you're having a stroke. And as you can tell with this and the fact that it's censored, this was another attempt at DMG, but you'll never be her. This is like a modern Yadu, I guess. She uses a cell phone and stuff, I guess to make her hip with the kids, even though riding a rod moves figures. Let's get back to more important things, like Kite. Remembers Dr. Faker saying an envoy from Astral World is here, and they must have numbers. Furthermore, he must be using a host to be here. That's when Orbital remembers Yuma's necklace, and they analyze it, seeing it didn't come from Earth. So now Kite wants that pendant. So he finds out where Yuma's school is, and has Orbital sneak in to take it from Yuma when he took it off during gym. But someone sees this. It's Shark, who grabs the necklace and runs to the roof, where he runs into Kite. And Shark decides to protect Yuma's necklace since he helped him. Shark gets Kite to duel him by tricking him into thinking he has a number. And Shark, while being good, is no match for Kite, because he even has fusions. Man, he has everything in that extra deck. So Kite wins and takes Shark's soul, but is surprised when he sees he has no number. That's when Yuma and his friends show up and see Kite take the necklace and escape. Meanwhile, inside with Astral.
You need the power of Zexal. The power that changes all darkness into light. The power of Zexal.
Yep, we got the subtitle name drop at episode 22, the fastest so far. Or I guess technically the first one, because the subtitle was Duel Monsters. Shark knocked out, Yuma decides to finally tell his friends all about Kite, the souls, and Astral, and that he needs to get the key back no matter what, since Astral's in there. Of course, they all help out, and even get Mr. K and his Crash Bug program, let's call it, to help out. He still has that? They track the key to a warehouse in the city and head there. At that warehouse, Kite and Orbital examine the key and think to activate it, they can use something called a Baryon crystal from somewhere called Baryon World.
And use a barrier crystal.
Really?
Yes, you heard me. It comes from the Baryon World, not from this planet. Its energy may activate the pendant.
They don't really have one specifically, but Orbital is powered by one, so Kite makes him use it, which opens a portal. Kite thinks it's a portal to Astral World and jumps in, but finds he's in the key and meets Astral face to face. The only thing Kite is interested in are the number cards there, of course, so Astral defends himself by dueling Kite. Making it to the warehouse, Yuma sees his deck glow and realizes Astral is using it to duel, and thanks to Mr. K's program, the kids are able to get inside. But a bunch of traps and bots block them, but one by one they all stay behind to help Yuma get to Astral. Yuma makes it to the room where they're doing all that portal stuff, and tries to get in with a computer, and his expert hacking skills somehow has him see a picture of Kite and Heart, but Yuma doesn't know who Heart is now and is just confused at what he's looking at. Back at the duel, Astral isn't doing awful, but a problem occurs in his strategy, one Kite notices and exploits. That Astral isn't playing to win, he's playing to survive, acting very defensively. Astral realizes this is true, as logically, he always tried to simply survive and continue his mission. But thinking of his time with Yuma, he starts feeling the flow and making moves that actually advance the board state, allowing him to make Utopia. That's when back outside, Yuma's deck glows again, and he arrives back at that door once again, which talks about Zexel.
You shall gain new power beyond anything you imagine. But to balance this power, you must sacrifice that which is most important to you. Enter and obtain the power of Zexal.
That's when Orwell comes out in his attack mode, he has that. Buck gets stuck in a wall, and Yuma makes it to the necklace. And Astral's not doing great. While he's playing better, he even manages to summon Chaos Utopia, which interestingly even Kite doesn't seem to know about. Astral is still losing. But when Yuma shows up, that door appears again, spouting some nonsense about courage and Zexel. We heard it all before. Yuma once again opens it, which allows him to get inside the key, and Astral senses that his friend has arrived, and another Xyz summon occurs, with them.
I will now build the overlay network with my friend Yuma! Two mighty forces will fuse into one, revealing the power of Zexel! Zexelmorph!
What's going on? What is that?
Wow, that looks like something a 13-year-old who really likes Yu-Gi-Oh would make when prompted to draw a Dragon Ball OC. With this new power, Yuma now has a skill called Shining Draw. It's this series' version of the Heart of the Cards.
By the power of Zexel, give me the wisdom and skill to draw the perfect card and defeat my opponent. Go, Shining Draw!
And using his new Zexel monster, doesn't beat Kite, but manages to tie the duel. Afterwards, Yuma asks why Kite does this, and he says it's for his brother, leading Yuma to deduce that that kid in the photo we saw must be Kite's brother. Before he answers why he needs the number specifically, Kite returns Shark's soul. As the building the kids are in crumbles, and they make it out safely as Kite flies away. The episode after this one is a clip show, so no need to talk about it. And this is where we'll end this first part, because this is where I stopped when I was watching the show when it came out. Also, my voice is starting to go because I've been recording this for 2 hours. So far, though, pretty good. Yeah, personally, I don't have anything really bad to say about Zexel so far. It's fine. I like the characters, the story, the mysteries it's setting up, the pacing of the show, and the duels. They're all fun to watch. But how would I go for the future? Because as we've seen with other Yu-Gi-Oh shows, they really start to dip in quality as time goes on. So will they be able to keep it up in the next arc? Our first tournament arc of the series, as we begin the Duel Carnival arc.